Hey there, Frederick here. Okay, let's get right to it. So, this track is basically made up of guitar loops, going through some effects, and recorded twice, 3 times really, because it goes 2 tracks of a guitar loop in the Ditto Looper by TC Electronics. And I have 2 different loops there of different lengths, and start with one loop that has kind of a pad, and then we go and record another loop for the second track there. The way that the signal flow is going with that is the guitar goes into the Strymon timeline, then into the big sky, and I'm using 2 presets here basically. This one downer and this one relax, and those are recorded into the looper, so they're not after the looper. They're the loops on the Ditto are recording the effects. And so I do 2 tracks of that, and then get those loops the way that I like it, and then record the output of the looper onto the NAGRA 4.2. I play the loops through the amp, the Roland JC 120 amp, and record that into the NAGRA with just a microphone going into the NAGRA mic preamps, and then play a second guitar track with the same effects through the second channel of the Roland JC 120, and then that becomes the length of the piece is fixed. It's not a loop that's on the NAGRA. It's a full length, and with variations and things like this on the NAGRA. So then after I have that, then I come back in and play the NAGRA using the mono headphone line out back into the amp again on channel 1 of the amp, and then I have the guitar with the same effects, no looper this time, going into channel 2 on the amp, and play the tape piece and improvise over that with the guitar with the same effects. And that's the whole piece, that's the track, that's how it works. So to break it down a little bit and show how we did it, we start with the looper, and so the way that I do that is to record 2 empty tracks to start with. And the reason we record the empty tracks is because if you just play the first track as a loop, then when you hit the loop for it to repeat, it'll have like a click. So in order to avoid the clicking, when the loop repeats, you can record an empty track like this. And so it's recording something now. I've got the volume down. This is the way that I would start. And I just kind of have a rough idea of kind of how long I want it to go. It's not really any exact idea, but I sort of know what I want to play on the guitar and how that's going to work. So as an example, then I would stop this loop and then record the next loop, and I would try to make it a little bit of a different length, and I would kind of have an idea of how I want that to go. So I'd record the second loop, empty loop like this. And I don't use any of the effects for the first pass of that, but the first pass that I like to do is to do volume swells into the first loop. So this is the guitar going into just these 2 effects. That's all we have here. It's the timeline first into the big sky. And so I just turn the volume down here, and I know I'm going to play something around started, I would turn this down so we get the loop going here. And with the loop going here on repeat, play into the loop with a volume swell. And what I might do is take the delay out of the first one there. And at that point we can kind of hear maybe it's repeating. And so this would be kind of the basis of the first loop. Would go like this, and then what I might do at that point would be to go in and use the reverse function and reverse the loop. So then what I might do, after you get kind of a pad like this happening, then reverse the loop and do another pass on top. And so then after you get this second pass on there with notes that aren't volume swell recorded in reverse, then maybe add one more, maybe also in reverse. this point, you can add the timeline back in. And so once you get there, that's kind of a good time to add in a second loop. And I would try to vary it up a little bit, but basically the same kind of idea. So we kind of go like this and build up this way. So this is the first loop, so you can hear. And then the second loop. And so then on the first loop, what I might want to do would be to add a little bit more low end. So I would play the loop in double time on the looper. Like this. And then play same kind of material. Like this, these notes, but record this as volume swells. So then take it back out of the double time. And now we've got some lower notes in there that are an octave lower. So with the same kind of idea, then on the second loop track, this time put it into halftime and record over that for some higher pitch material. So let's see how that sounds. And maybe also put it in reverse as well. So we're going to add two effects into the loop, halftime and reverse. So then we take both of the effects out of the recorded loop now, take it out of reverse, and take it out of halftime. So the next thing, now that I have the loops the way that I like them, there's enough there that I could play over those, but it's not so busy that there's no space left. Then I want to get those onto the NAGRA with some improvised parts like I was playing here. And so I play the loops through the amp, and at that point I use the mic inputs on the NAGRA to record the amp with the loops and the improvised guitar parts. And the way that that turns out, so we have the loops on the NAGRA, and along with some sparse improvised parts, and the NAGRA is playing through the JC120 coming out of the mono headphone line out on the front here. Now, for the purposes of recording this, I have the mono line out going into this mixer here, but that's just so that I can start and stop the NAGRA without a loud click and pop happening through the amp. But so at that point, then I would have the guitar going through the other channel of the amp the same way, and then I just play the tape and do another pass over that without the looper being involved, and it's just an improvised part the way that I would hear it, and that would go. And it really just goes like that. And that's the whole piece. And when the tape runs out, or it gets to the end, pretty close to the end, then the piece is over. You can kind of hear like some voices and some weird like vocal things at the beginning of the NAGRA part, and that's just because I recorded over, I got all these tapes on eBay, and they had all kinds of other stuff on there, and I recorded over them, and they were recorded at a different speed, and some of the stuff is still in there. There were like some square dancing videos, and they were like square dancing instructions and Morse code instructional tape. So there's all kinds of weird things on there, and I kind of like it. I just leave it in there, and it just sort of adds a texture. And it's recorded at a different speed, so it sounds even weirder. And then I just improvise with what I'm hearing off of the tape. And that's the whole piece. That's everything. Anyway, I think that about covers it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Be sure to check out the full video of the performance of the piece. The piece is called Continental Shelf. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications. And if you found this content useful, consider joining me over at my Patreon. Your support there is most appreciated and helps me to continue making this content. As always, thanks for listening, and have a great day.